Hey guys, just wanted to go over this real quick. I went through a list of stuff that happens from 1 to 30, what's changing about Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch. So these are the ability changes for classes that will affect your leveling, right? And I went through, I tried to do quick stuff. No talents are being discussed here. It's only the changes to straight abilities, right? So the abilities that characters get. I'm going to start with the warriors and what happens to them because a lot of these changes speed up your leveling time quite significantly. And warriors are one of the biggest winners when it comes to these changes. They get a huge change. Warriors get this ability called Victory Rush. They get it at level 6 now instead of level 62. And so it's a huge change for warriors. This ability lets you instantly attack after you kill a target that grants experience or honor, and the damage is based on your attack power. It's really, really strong. Victory Rush, incredibly good for warriors. Other changes to warriors, Ren scales way better than it did before. It does better damage. Other things like at level, where is it here? We got Retaliation. At level 20, Retaliation only has a 5-minute cooldown now. It used to have a 30-minute cooldown. Same with Shield Wall at level 28. Shield Wall has a 5-minute cooldown now instead of 30 minutes. They were both slightly dampened compared to what they were before. Like Shield Wall is 60% instead of 75%. And then I think Retaliation only has 20 attacks instead of 30, and it only lasts for 12 seconds instead of 15. But honestly, they're both very, very still strong. And I mean, they're basically the same ability with 15 minutes shaved off their cooldowns. Incredibly strong for warriors while leveling. Shield Wall, we talked about. Thunderclap has had its target limit removed, and its damage is about 50% stronger at rank 1. It also scales with attack power now. Incredibly, incredibly strong Thunderclap. And then one of the biggest changes, revenge damage is doubled. You get revenge at level 16. It now does double the damage it does in TBC. Warriors gaining tons of power through leveling. And we'll move on now to druids. So druids are a little bit different. They gain the very little relative to their talent changes are quite substantial. Every other class got talent changes too, but things that they did get baseline now, like Nature's Grasp is baseline now for druids. They have an out-of-combat revive finally. You don't have to use your battle res in order to revive people. And also, you get travel form at level 16. So that's really big because, of course, mounts are at level 20 now. So getting travel form at 30 would feel really weird. Compared to the warriors, it's not as big a bunch of changes for the druids, just ability-wise. Talents-wise, a lot of stuff changed there. Now we're going to talk about hunters. Some things you get with hunters is you gain aspect of the cheetah at 16. So if we go down to level 16 here, we have aspect of the cheetah, which makes you move faster at 16. Very nice. Mongoose Bite, for all those melee hunters out there, is now a spammable attack you get at level 16. You no longer have to wait for something to attack you and dodge it to be able to retaliate with a Mongoose Bite. Mongoose Bite is used innately whenever you want on a 5-second cooldown. You also get Leaping Disengage at level 20. So Disengage now makes you jump back from your spot where you are, and you leap back. It's very useful. You can use it to jump down mountains. You can leap off tall buildings, and at the very last second, disengage. It'll reset your fall distance. So you jump off, you're falling. Right before you hit the ground, disengage. You'll fall back, no damage taken. Really nice. Aspect of the Viper, you gain mana recovery at level 20. Insanely nice. Hunters gain a lot there. And then you also have Aspect of the Beast at level 30. So I stopped these at 30 was the cutoff for the changes. Level 30, you get Aspect of the Beast, 10% melee attack power for you and your pet. So if you want to be a melee hunter, it's a great time to be a melee hunter. Mages, I didn't see any significant differences with mages. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I am blind. But I do not see any changes to mages that were really all that significant other than talents. Talents, obviously, massive changes there for mages. Massive changes for every class. But as far as actual abilities changing for mages, very little changed, if anything. Okay, paladins, you gained quite a different class spec leveling. Leveling on a paladin is completely different from how it was in TBC. Seals are now 30-minute duration buffs. Your judgments do not consume your seals, and you gain multiple different judgments for different situations. So you've got Judgment of Light at level 4 now, which applies a heal on auto attack debuff to the enemy, so when you attack them, you'll get healed for part of your max health, and this scales with you. You have things like Divine Protection now is not an immunity. It gives you 50% damage reduction. Lay on Hands is now a 20-minute cooldown. You can glyph and talent to make it lower cooldown if you wanted to. Judgment of Wisdom at 12, you gain base mana back. When you judge, you gain mana back. And you get back mana when you use it. When you auto attack, excuse me. You can now pull from range at level 16. You have Hand of Reckoning. That's pretty amazing. Exorcism is usable on any target. Exorcism right here, rank 1, level 20. You can use Exorcism at level 20 at any time to kill people. Blessing of Kings is baseline at level 20. Level 20 Paladins get a mount for cheap. You can just buy that mount immediately at 20. And that's Paladins. There's a lot of little things different. Seals, like Seal of Command is completely different for Ret Paladins, but that's a talent. And they're just really strong and way faster leveling on a Paladin now. Paladins are incredible in the pre-patch. So priests have very little different. I believe they do get a new ability, though. Devouring Plague was undead only, is now baseline to everybody. So you get Devouring Plague at level 20. It is a high mana cost, low damage output ability, but it is something to use while you're moving, right? You can use instant cast. So you could use this if you already have Shadow Word Pain on target. You have to move for some reason. You can cast Devouring Plague, get some heals, get some damage out. But it is a pretty significant mana cost. But you're also Shadow, so you get pretty good mana back. But that's really the only difference that I noticed. If you guys notice any differences, please tell me in the comments below. All right, Rogues, you get Dismantle at level 20. This is a disarm that you can target on a 1-minute cooldown. It removes all weapons, shields, or other equipment carried for 10 seconds. This is a pretty good ability. It's really good for a disarm, but you get it at level 20. It's completely new, right? And for as far as I can tell, just ability-wise, Rogues don't get very many changes from what they had before. But Rogues, you're gaining a disarm now on a 1-minute cooldown. Shamans get some pretty significant changes when it comes to leveling in Wrath of the Lich King. Things like Stoneclaw, which you get at level 8, has a bubble for your other totem. So if you were locked in PvP, or for some reason if one of your totems aggroes a mob and you want to protect it, you can drop a Stoneclaw down, and the Stoneclaw will give that totem a shield of its own to protect it from a little bit of damage. It's 21 damage at rank 1 level 8. So, not going to survive for very long, but it'll take like 4 or 5 hits from a little a wolf or something. It's doing 4 damage each hit. It'll survive for a little bit. But, just a little oh crap button for your totems, as well as the strength it had before. It's just even more utility added onto Stoneclaw. Earthshock was changed. Earthshock no longer interrupts targets, so you're no longer going to have that very, very early low-level interrupt that Shamans have. It's very beneficial. Could be considered a slight nerf, but it does have a melee attack speed reduction attached to it now. Earthshock slows their attack speed similar to Thunderclap. We also have things like Flame Tongue Weapon, granting flat spell power at level 10. So instead of granting just damage and auto attack, it actually gives you spell power. So you can have 7 spell damage increased at level 10, and then your attacks also cause damage when you auto attack. Things that also changed: Wind Shear at level 16 is an interrupt that you can use at range on a 6-second cooldown, and it is off the shock cooldown. You do not have to worry about your shocks going on cooldown when you need to interrupt. So you can shock at your heart's content. Earth Shock, Frost Shock, Flame Shock as much as you want, because Wind Shear is there to pick up the slack for your interrupts. Flame Shock is changed now. Flame Shock can critically strike during its damage over time portion. So a lot of talents in the game allow this to happen, but Flame Shock gets it innately. Flame Shock gets the damage over time, can crit, and their dot will also scale with haste. So you will actually gain more ticks of Flame Shock. The more haste you have, the more ticks of damage you will get from Flame Shock. We also have Cure Poison, Cure Disease changed into Cure Toxins. It is a 1-button ability now, and it does both. It will remove 1 disease and 1 poison from the target. So if you got 2 on you, if you got a disease and a poison, both can be removed with 1 global cooldown, which is pretty nice. You get Water Shield at level 20. Huge. Waiting for Water Shield in the 60s was obnoxious, and getting it at such an early level is going to be so nice for so many Shamans. Flame Tongue Weapon at 28 gives spell power to friends. So Flame Tongue Totem, gives spell power to friends at level 28. And then you have things like Earth Living Weapon at 30. Earth Living Weapon will give a heal over time effect on your heals. So in addition to healing people, you'll also have a chance to give them a heal over time while they're being healed by you. So that's pretty nice for shamans leveling up as well. But again, all these things are just a lot of just very small changes that shamans got a lot of, warriors got a lot of. We're going to move on now to the final class. Okay, let's talk about warlocks. So warlocks, their demon skin was changed. So their demon skin rank 1 used to give health per 5. And demon skin was changed to increase the health you generate through spells and effects instead of health regen. Back in Burning Crusade, it gave you 3 health per 5 and increased armor by 40. It now increases armor by 90 and increases the amount of health generated through spells and effects by 20%. So you gain a little bit more active regen rather than the passive regen that we had before. Curse of Weakness now has a 5% armor reduction attached to it. So not only do you have the melee attack power reduction, you gain a 5% armor reduction. Could be really nice for any of your pets that do physical damage. If you're demonology, that could be nice. Fighting warriors, obviously nice. Drain Soul is now different. Drain Soul can now generate soul shards on every damage tick. It doesn't always do it, but has a chance to, as well as at the end of the enemy's life when they die, it'll give you a soul shard. But you can now create soul shards in combat. And then if they're below 25% health, Drain Soul causes 4 times the normal damage, which was not how it was in Burning Crusade. Another change is Firestone was changed. Firestone used to be an ability that you would put on your in your range slot, and it would make your weapon have an extra fire damage when you auto-attacked with it, as well as increasing your fire damage. It does not do that anymore. What it does now is it increases your direct damage by direct spells by 1% at rank 1, and the spell critical strike rating by 7 at rank 1, and it lasts for an hour. So it is a ability now. It is an item you create, and then you place it on your weapon with charges. You no longer put it in your melee range slot to replace your wand. So it's completely different the way it was utilized back in Wrath versus how it's utilized now. It is a weapon oil or a poison or a sharpening stone that you wanted to put on your weapon now, as opposed to what it was in TBC, which was a replacement for your wand. So thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Here's a couple more of these things. We got, Victory Rush at level 6 instead of level 62. Ren scaling way better. All these things that these classes get now at these low levels. Mage has teleport at level 20. That is not actually different. I was wrong there when I was making the video. Paladin and Judgment Seal overall. We had a lot of little things changed with a lot of classes, but for the most part, shamans, warriors, warlocks, hunters, paladins got a lot of changes. The other ones, not a ton. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next one.